Welcome to Personal Finance. In this video, we are going to discuss leasing a car versus buying it. Which one is best for you and your wallet? People often wonder if leasing a car is the best option out there today. After all, when you lease a car, you are always driving the latest models and typically do not have to worry about things like maintenance or breakdowns. Once you get bored of the car, you simply turn it in for a newer model without the hassle of having to put it for sale, showing the car and actually finding a buyer who's not lowballing you. So, leasing a car sounds like the best deal, right? Well, no. According to Money magazine, leasing a car is the most expensive way to operate a vehicle. Yes, you always have the newest model, but you get to pay for it with inflated prices. Here's what I mean. Years ago, I leased a car. Not knowing any better, I thought it was the best option for me at the time, as I didn't have any money at all. The deal they gave me was the following: no money down and the first 2 months were free. Sounds good, right? Well, actually, no. Had I bought the car, I would have paid $18,000 for it MSRP. However, since I leased the car, I ended up paying $332 a month for a contract duration of 48 months. If you do the math, you'll see that at the end of the 4-year term, I ended up paying just over $15,000. $3,000 short of the original MSRP price of $18,000, and I still had to return it. Had I bought the car, I would have just had to pay an extra $3,000 to be able to keep the car. At this point, you might argue that you can buy a leased car after the term is over, and you are right. But remember, if you want to keep the car at the end of the lease, the dealer will not sell it to you for the original MSRP price of $18,000. They will always add more money because, obviously, they want to turn a profit. In my particular case, if I wanted to keep the car after the lease, I had to pay them an extra $9,000 on top of the $15,000 I had already paid throughout the 4-year period. This means that the final cost of the car would have been $24,000 instead of $18,000. That's $6,000 more just because I signed a lease contract instead of financing the vehicle. Don't make the mistake I made. This is what you could do instead. If you are finding value in this video, please like and subscribe. It would mean the world to me. If you 100% really want to have the car you are trying to lease, buy it instead. Get the lowest price possible instead of leasing it. If you ever get tired of it, you can just sell the car. If you've paid it off completely, then all of the money goes to you. And if you still owe the car, you can always get a personal loan and pay the difference so that your buyer can have the title. Having said this is not what I recommend you do when buying a vehicle. Yes, this is better than leasing, but this is not how I bought my BMW Z4 with cash. The following is what I recommend you do instead. First, let's follow Dave Ramsey's principle to see how much car you can actually afford. For this, there are 2 rules I recommend you follow. The first one is that the total value of the vehicles you own cannot be more than half your annual income. Example, let's say that you and your wife make $50,000 a year combined and you own a car that's paid for and that is worth $10,000. If you wanted to buy another vehicle, the most you could spend on it would be $15,000. This way, $10,000 plus $15,000 equals $25,000, which is half your annual income. The second rule I recommend you follow is that you pay cash for the car. So if in the scenario I just described, you want to get a $15,000 car, then you would need to have that much money in savings and just write a check for it. Let me explain why. Cars are the second most expensive things we typically buy, second only to buying a house. They take up a big percentage of your monthly income, and yet they go down in value every month. This means that the typical person is putting a large percentage of their money in something that's going down in value. You'll stay middle class if you keep doing this your whole life. If you want to create wealth, you should put your money in things that go up in value, not down. That is why I recommend you follow the 2 rules I mentioned. The first one, the total value of your cars cannot equal more than half your annual income, is to prevent you from buying too much car in regards to your annual income. Believe it or not, I've seen people who make $24,000 a year buy a $60,000 brand new BMW. In that case, the numbers are so out of proportion, the BMW actually owns you, instead of the other way around. But why would the dealer sell you a $60,000 car if you only make $24,000? Well, it's very simple. Actually, when you fail to make the payments, the dealership simply repos your car and will resell it. That means that they've taken your payments so far and the car. It's a win-win for them. The second rule, that you should pay cash for the car, is to prevent you from buying a vehicle you cannot afford. If you are out of debt, have an emergency fund, and you have the money to buy a car cash, then you are on your way to becoming wealthy. But if you are up to your nose in debt, you're living paycheck to paycheck, and do not even have $5,000 to your name, you go and buy a car and it will drag you further into broken land. You'll never break middle class, and you will stay broke forever. Now, don't get me wrong, you'd be considered normal. You would have a nice car, have a bunch of payments, and have no money in the bank. I've just described to you the average citizen. Guess what? The average citizen is not wealthy. The average citizen is not debt-free, have $50,000 in the bank, and a paid-for 2016 BMW Z4 sitting outside, like I do. I don't mean to brag, I am simply recommending to you the same strategy I use in my personal life. If you continue to have a car payment for the rest of your life, your income will be limited by this burden, and you will not be able to save and invest the way you should in order to create some actual wealth. Going back to leasing a car, when you lease a car, you typically spend $12,000 to $20,000 on a vehicle you will never own. However, if you buy the car cash and you buy something within your means, less than 50% of your annual income, you will have money at the end of every month. And when you have money, you have options. You have the ability to buy other assets that actually make you money. Remember what Robert Kiyosaki said, buy assets that make you money instead of liabilities that take money away from you. In conclusion, leasing a car is not wrong. It is simply the most expensive way to have a car. If you have the extra money, then fine, it's a luxury. But if you are trying to get ahead financially, leasing a car is a terrible idea, as it will keep you broke forever. There's nothing wrong with buying a brand new car either, as long as you can pay for it with ease, and as long as the car is not over your means. I really hope this video was useful to you. If you found value, please like and subscribe. And if you think your friends and family might benefit from watching this, please share it with them. And as always, thank you for watching.